What's poppin', y'all? It's your girl, Noni Juice, and welcome to Brain Squeeze, your go-to drop of juice for what's happening right now. And you guys, I am so excited right now because I have the pleasure of being joined by Jerrod Woods. You are the Senior Marketing Director here for Summerfest. Yeah. And listen, y'all, I've talked about Summerfest before in the past. You know we love Summerfest around here, so thank you so much, Jerrod, for being here and being my first interview at that.
I feel honored that I'm your first interview. Yeah, no, it's exciting. I was so happy when you asked me to join. So, and Summerfest is only 2 weeks away, which is it's a little shocking, but it's exciting too.
Yeah, it comes extremely fast, and it's like, how do you guys even prepare for this?
I mean, for us, it's like we're like our entertainment team, they're already booking acts for 2027 and even looking at 2028. So it's one of those things where the entertainment industry has shifted so much that everything is happening earlier. So you kind of have to be ahead of the curve in a lot of ways and trying to figure out, who's the next act that's going to possibly, make it big. Like, I mean, we've got artists like a perfect example, like Don Toliver. I mean, he's always been big. He continues to grow, but like this album, we knew he was going to drop one, but we had no idea how good Octane was going to be. And now it's the biggest hip hop album of the year so far. So yeah, it's really exciting to see how that stuff kind of plays out as we get closer to the festival.
Yeah, and you guys really have to like keep your ear to the streets too, because like you said, you don't know if their album is really going to pop. You just have to have that confidence, like, oh, I think this is a good artist. And it's almost like you guys are scouting talent in a sense.
Yeah, 100%. Like we definitely rely on a lot of different like metrics. So we have different tools that we're looking at. Obviously, like hard ticket sales is a good one. We work really closely with artist agent teams and their artist management teams to also just get a feel about, what have they done recently? Sometimes artists too, they will really start to gain a lot of traction after possibly being an opener on a big tour. So we've seen that a few times. But yeah, it's one of those things where we are constantly trying to figure out who is that next big thing.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to take it back just a little bit because when people hear your title as Senior Director of Marketing for a huge festival like Summerfest, you're usually the face of, all of the media that we see around here. But what exactly do you do in your role? Yeah,
so that's a good point. It's fun being the face of the, of the organization. But yeah, no, my job is really fun. So I've worked in music my entire career. I started off working in Nashville, worked in Minneapolis for First Avenue. Many people know that in relation or because of Prince. So obviously, Prince has played a huge influence on my life, and now I'm at Summerfest. So in my role, I lead all the marketing, the PR, communications, social media. So when you're getting ads served for Summerfest, that is me and my team. I absolutely love what I do. It's fun because in the end, for me, my favorite part about the festival, I get asked this all the time, obviously the music. I love seeing all the different artists, but at the same time, it's like seeing the fans come here. That is the best part, when they're having the time of their life, seeing their favorite artists, hanging out with their friends, hanging out with their family, and spending their time here. Like, I know that that's no small thing for people. Like, they are spending their hard-earned money to come here, and that's something that I absolutely love to see because there's nothing better than seeing people having the time of their life when they're at our festival.
That is so nice. And it's been generations that you guys have literally been around. And I feel like the branding of Summerfest itself has changed throughout the years. You guys used to be known as, and I don't know if you still go by this, but the world's largest music festival. I know throughout the years, in recent years, I've seen you guys say the big gig or the largest festival or the largest party on the lake or something like that. How do you feel like the branding has changed, even in the past, 10 to 15 years? And what do you want people to think of when they hear Summerfest?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think for us, we got that title, World's Largest Music Festival, from the Guinness Book of World Records back in the day. At one point, we obviously had over 1 million people, which is absolutely insane to think about. But I think for us, too, what we think about is we have such a unique location compared to any other music festival. The fact that we are right on Lake Michigan, on the lakefront, in Milwaukee, also in an urban setting. You don't find that anywhere. There are some festivals, obviously like Lollapalooza, that's like that, but a lot of other ones, you're probably out in the field somewhere, a little bit out in the distance. So I think for us, one thing that's a huge differentiator and something that we always like to focus on is our grounds, the proximity to Milwaukee, the proximity to the lake, and then also one of our biggest aspects is our affordability too. And that's something that we really lean into when we're doing our different marketing and messaging.
For someone who has never been to Summerfest, and let's say they're coming this year for the very first time, what do you hope they walk away with knowing or learning about Milwaukee?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the diversity. I think obviously we are known as a city of festivals. We have a ton of different incredible cultural festivals, street festivals, and for me, I think it's one of those things that there is so much of that is intertwined between every other festival. So it's like, we will work with different festivals to partner on ticket giveaways, because that's the one thing is like, in my mind, like Milwaukee is such an incredible culture. And I feel like people don't realize that until they get here and see what everything the city has to offer. So I feel honored in my role to be part of Summerfest, who, like you said, we've been around. This is our 58th festival, which is insane to think about. But it's one of those things where I feel honored to kind of carry that legacy and also carry that for Milwaukee, because I feel like, Milwaukee, one thing that, I feel like I'm told time and time again is, if I'm out and about or people are like, oh, I told so-and-so I'm from Milwaukee, and the first thing they brought up was Summerfest. The fact that Summerfest is so well known, not only on a regional, national, but also worldwide, place. I think for me, I feel honored to be able to tell Milwaukee's story through Summerfest as well.
And I love that you guys have so many different promotions and ways that people can get into Summerfest, either for free or for a discount. Like, I feel like that's very different from other festivals that I've seen.
Yeah, we are run by a nonprofit. So for us, giving back to the community is a huge part of what we do. And that's also one of my favorite parts. So like this year, we've got 15 ways you can get in free. You're thinking, how do you have 15 when you only have 9 days of the festival? Well, some days there's multiple ways, but there's also other ways, like through our Summerfest app, you can claim a complimentary ticket thanks to our partners at Pepsi. We work with Pick and Save, where if you go and buy a certain amount of different products at Pick and Save, Metro Market, or Mariano's, which is actually in like Northern Illinois, Chicago, if you spend, I think it's like $25, you actually can receive a complimentary Summerfest ticket as well. Wow. So for us, it's, music should be accessible. It should be available to everyone. That is one thing that we stand on wholeheartedly. And I think for us, that is something that you see us continuing to advance in our mission through our different admission promotions and giving people the opportunity to come to the festival.
I love that. I really do. Now, when it is about the days of Summerfest, it used to be 11 straight days. Yep. And I'm sure you get asked all the time about the difference now, because now it's over 3 separate weekends, consecutive weekends, of course. Yep. But some people like it, some people don't. Yep. So I just want to know your thoughts. Originally, it started with the 3-day weekend, I believe, because of the pandemic, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then you guys have kept that format.
Yep.
Tell me your thoughts on it. How did you guys come up with that plan to begin with, and why did you guys choose to keep it around?
Yeah, so for us, I think for everyone, obviously the pandemic kind of changed a lot. We tried to have a festival in 2020. Obviously, everything canceled that year. We tried to have the festival during the same time frame in 2021, and then we had to push that back, which is how we got basically to the 3 weekends in fall of 2021. So,
people love that too. By the way, someone said that to me, like, "Oh, the weather was amazing."
The weather was, it's a little bit like summer is so interesting, because for us, like I remember 2024, it was a little bit chillier. Like it was kind of like that, in my opinion, my favorite weather of like Milwaukee, where it's like you're wearing shorts, but you can put a sweatshirt on too, and you feel totally comfortable. Where last year times it was like a little bit warmer. So, but as part of our process, we did a ton of surveying. We asked so many, like we did not only on-site surveying, we did online surveys, and we asked our fans about what they wanted. And the one thing that we kept hearing over and over again is Fridays and Saturdays. 82% of our fans said that is our favorite day to come.
Really?
So for us, we were like, okay, if that's everyone's favorite day, why would we not expand that opportunity for our fans to come and enjoy those days even more? So that is kind of how the 3-weekend model came about. And the other thing that's interesting too is in the music industry, again, this all kind of changed post-COVID, is there's that weekend warrior mindset for a lot of artists. Luke Combs is a perfect example on his tour right now. He's literally going and doing 1 or 2 shows every weekend, and then he's going home to visit and spend time with his family, and then going back out on the road on the weekends. That's what a lot of artists are doing these days, because they want to be home. They want to be in their sleep in their own bed. They want to spend time with their family. They don't want to be on a tour bus for 4 months straight just going around the country. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of different changes that have happened kind of behind the scenes, that have kind of got us to where we're at now. And now, we continue to see success with it. I think one thing too is, the 3 weekend model has continued to also bring in more people to Milwaukee.
Wow, because it's on a weekend, so I guess they want to fly in, or
Correct, yeah. So we continue to. I think that's a big aspect too. Is like we continue to drive tourism for the city, to local restaurants, to local bars, for the community as a whole. People are coming here and spending their money. So I think for us, the 3 weekend format has continued to be successful. It's one of those things that, obviously too, for us this year, adding 2 more days, which is kind of funny because people are like, oh, you're back to 11 days, but you can't really turn down the opportunity when you get a superstar like Garth Brooks who wants to come and play your festival, which this year, at this time, we are his only U.S. dates.
Whoa.
He's not playing anywhere else in the country. He's playing in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Summerfest to kick off this year's festival. So that's a big deal.
You bring up so many great things, and my mind is just going right now. I'm going to try to stay on track just a little bit, but I'm going to hit on a couple of things that you said in a little bit. When it comes to the 3-day format, is there ever a world where you feel like it would go back to the consecutive 11 days?
Yeah, I mean, I would say never say never. I think if we as a company weren't looking at what is the best possibility or what is the best opportunity for us as an organization, but also for our fans, I think I would be lying to you. So, I mean, that's something we look at every single year, not necessarily what the format of the festival is, but how can we continue to improve it? How can we continue to make positive changes that continue to enhance the fan experience, enhance the artist experience, because that's how it all comes together. If artists want to play here, fans are going to come here, and then in the end, that is successful and makes everyone happy.
Now, I'm going to go back to what you said, too, about artists wanting to more than likely just come on the weekends because they want to spend the weeks with their family. One thing I have noticed, and I get really upset about this sometimes, is Milwaukee gets skipped a lot when it comes to different locations, since we're so close to Chicago, right? Do you feel like by not even just from Summerfest being on the weekends, but do you feel like it's harder to get artists to commit to coming on the weekend because they might be in Chicago, instead?
Not necessarily. I think one thing that is like a big thing that is part of the music industry is the routing side. So for us, it's like Bonnaroo, huge music festival outside of Nashville, is the weekend before our first weekend in Summerfest. So what we will do is we will work with Bonnaroo to understand what artists are they having in their lineup this year, and then how do we route them the following weekend to come to Summerfest. Same thing with Electric Forest. It's a big EDM festival. They are the second weekend of our festival. So they're right over in Michigan, very close. So we have an artist this year called Subtronics. We were trying to route with Electric Forest to basically get him to come here after his performance there. So it's one of those things where actually in the summertime for music festivals, it's super beneficial. Because there are so many different festivals. Most touring acts are usually going out in fall or spring. That's when you kind of see more tours happening. And summertime, it's festival season. That's what artists are going to do. They're going to play music festivals. So we are constantly trying to route with different festivals to bring different artists here, because that's the thing. Most artists want to be able to go out and play 3 or 4 dates, usually in a span of a weekend, ideally.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good that it doesn't really affect much. And it's like a little calculation game, too. You guys are looking at the potential people that you would want, and you're looking at their tour dates and who's on their lineup, and how can we kind of get them to come over here. It's so strategic.
It is a puzzle. It is the biggest puzzle ever. I mean, the amount of offers that our entertainment team puts in every single year, people would be blown away. Absolutely blown away. I mean, Post Malone, perfect example. He's an artist we've tried to get, I don't know, for 8 years in a row. His birthday's over the July 4th weekend. So for him,
birthday party. great.
Yeah, I know. So for him, he's like, I want to be with my friends and family. I want to be home. I don't want to do over 4th of July. And this year it just happened to work out, finally, that he could come and perform on the second weekend. So we're super excited about that one. But yeah, we go after every single artist you could possibly imagine every single year. And it just depends. Some artists, that's the other thing too, we're also competing with Europe. So a lot of artists, they may tour kind of during like fall or spring, and then one year they may go and play shows in Europe, and then the next summer they're going to actually do U.S. Music festivals. So there's a whole different intricacy about what the artist routing is going to do on a year-to-year basis and how that affects us or benefits us.
Okay, so now I want to go into the lineup just a little bit because I'm not going to lie to you. When the lineup first originally dropped, I feel like it's a holiday. I always say this. It's a holiday in Milwaukee because Summerfest is so special to a lot of people, and it's like the start of the summer, and everyone wants to see their favorite acts. And even right now, I feel like there are a lot of artists who are on tour. They're dropping music. They got the albums out there. So we're like, oh, who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? When I originally saw the lineup, I have to be very honest.
Give it to me.
I was upset. I was upset at first, but I was talking to some of my friends, and they kind of talked me off the ledge because I didn't understand the behind the scenes of it all and all of the work that you guys probably put in behind the scenes. And so when I did see you at the Landmark Credit Union Live grand opening, and I got to talk to you a little bit, I said, okay, let me just ask, how does this process actually work? Because I think you guys do get a lot of flack for the acts that you do get, but they don't really know the process. So can you walk us through how it actually works? When do you guys even start looking for your acts? Because you already said you're looking at 2027 and 2028.
Yeah, I mean, we've already have offers in for artists for next year's festival before this one even happens. So it's one of those things where our entertainment team, they're going out, flying out to LA, New York to go meet with artist teams, agents, and understand kind of exactly, what artists are going on tour next year, what artists are wanting to play festivals, who's going to Europe. So trying to get a grasp first on like who's actually going to be a possibility to be here. And then from that point, we're sending out offers. So we're putting offers out. Like I know this year, perfect example, we tried to go after Tyler, the Creator.
Yes. That was the big one you told me.
Yeah.
I said, that would have been so good.
And he kind of I think after last year, he obviously had a huge year with his Chromatica tour, and he played a lot of festivals, and I think he went out on social at some point and said, I want to take some time off. And but for a short period, we were trying to work with us, Essence Festival, and a few other ones to get him to come out, and they were entertaining it. They were looking at the offers. He was interested. And then in the end, he just decided, I don't really want to do anything right now. So it's one of those things where it's like you always think you have hope that something's going to land. And then next thing you know, it may not happen. And that's just the music business. It's some years we will have that. That's also the interesting thing about what we do. It's probably one of my favorite things about what we do. I am a big believer that every single person, yes, they probably gravitate towards one genre of music more than others, but they also like several different genres. If you like indie music, you may also like, alternative rock, classic hits. You may like some hip hop. If you're a pop fan, you also may like indie music. You may like R&B. Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where I think that's one of the hardest parts about what we do, in my opinion, because anytime anyone sees a music festival lineup, whether it's Summerfest, Coachella, Lollapalooza, you want it to be curated towards yourself. You want it to fit your music taste. You want your favorite artist that you're listening to right now in this moment on that lineup. And that's one of the things where for us, obviously, we cater to every single genre out there. So we're not like a Lollapalooza in that aspect where it's it's obviously caters to a little bit of a younger demographic. We've got a Charlie Wilson who is kicking off the festival this year for us. So it's one of those things where we have a wide variety of artists from all these different decades, but also all these different genres. So it's hard because it's impossible for us to put 50 pop acts on our lineup, and because then we're going to be leaving out all these other genres that people love and are really important to the festival and that have been part of our success, which is why we've been around for 58 years.
Yeah, so I gave y'all some grace. I said, listen, they probably work overtime trying to get so many different acts. And like you said, it's a puzzle. Some things just don't work out, and there are people who you want to try to get that doesn't necessarily work out, like a Tyler, the Creator, which would have been huge.
I know. Yeah.
It would have been huge, but still, you know, we like Don Toliver, you know. Yeah. But that's just so interesting to me, too. And I just wonder, how have the budgets changed when it comes to artists now? Are they asking for more money or are they kind of staying the same?
Yeah, I mean, artist costs have definitely gone up for sure. You know, that's just been kind of the shift again. Like after the pandemic, there's more demand, so they are able to drive the price up, which obviously for us is not always ideal. So we're also trying to get the best deal possible that we can in order to make sure we can keep tickets affordable. That's a whole part of it too. You know, if we're paying you know, a lot of money for one artist, that may, you know, it may be challenging then for fans to come and see them because the ticket prices are so not affordable, or, you know, are just a little bit too high. So for us, it's kind of that balance too of like making sure we can get an artist for a price that we feel good about in order to make sure we can keep tickets accessible for fans too.
Exactly. And that probably is how we talked about before. Like, okay, there are people you might want, but then when you're getting in the negotiations of it all, there are probably so many other people you guys have reached out to that it just doesn't happen every year. It doesn't.
Well, and like SZA is a cool example too, where it's like, I mean, we were pursuing her for a long time prior to her performing here in 2024. And then 2024 came around. I think we probably put an initial offer the year prior, so 2023. And then, you know, weren't really sure. She wasn't really sure of her plans, and she started to, you know, it was made aware that she was going to do some festivals. And then, you know, I don't think we got a final locked in agreement with her until probably like right before our lineup announcement came out. So it's one of those things where it's like, you may be working on an artist for months and months and months and months, and all of a sudden you finally get that call of like, hey, we're going to confirm this show. So it's one of those things where you just, there's a lot of waiting around sometimes. There's a lot of negotiating that goes on behind the scenes. But yeah, it's cool because there are things like, another great example is Ed Sheeran this year. He is literally playing only stadium shows across the entire country. And then he's playing our 23,000 person amphitheater. So just seeing artists of that caliber when he's playing 60, 70,000 person NFL stadiums, and now he's playing in front of 23,000. That's also a very intimate setting to see that artist that you're not going to be able to get to see anywhere else. So it just happened to work out that in his routing that he had an open date, and we put in an offer, and he was excited to play Summerfest and play in Milwaukee again, and it worked out.
Now I have to ask, are there any names you can drop that you tried to get that didn't work? Because I'm sure people for this year at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think we continue to try and go after a lot of the different, obviously popular pop girls right now. So your Sabrina Carpenters, your Chappell Roans, Charlie XCX, Gracie Abrams. I know she just announced a tour for her next album that's coming out. Olivia Rodrigo, like we go after these artists every single year, and it just really depends. Some of them just like to play in arenas or like to do arena tours. Like that's, you know, there's a lot of artists preferential in that too. Some artists love to play outdoors. Like that is their preference. That's what they like to do. Other ones really just prefer playing indoors. So it's one of those things too, where it's like we have to kind of cater to that too a little bit. And that's one of the great things about, so when we renovated the American Family Insurance Amphitheater, we can now though hold NFL level production, which is why we can bring in artists like Garth Brooks and Ed Sheeran and Post Malone and Don Toliver's, because they have these huge production needs. And now we can host all that, which is a huge benefit to Summerfest and Milwaukee.
How do you guys choose what artists are going to be on which stages? Is that strategic too? Because I know with BMO, that's one specifically where if you want like the actual seats, you have to like have a ticket and
Yep.
stuff like that. If you want, you know, extra comfort, I guess you could say, and a closer view.
Yep.
But how do you guys decide who goes on what stages?
Yeah, it kind of depends. You know, obviously, you know, we've got phenomenal sponsors who are a big part of the festival's success too. So we try and work with them to understand. You know, all of our sponsors have, you know, most of them have different connections with artists. Obviously, you know, now we have the T-Mobile stage, so they are very intertwined in the music industry. So they work with certain artists regularly. Same with Molson Coors and Miller. So, you know, they have a bunch of artists on their roster that they kind of work with too when it comes to the promotional side. So we'll try and work with that. But, you know, it really just kind of depends. Again, part of it is that puzzle piece where we go back to where all of a sudden, okay, you know, we're working with an artist like Ella May and she's like, okay, I can only possibly perform on June 27th or I can play on July 3rd. So or July 2nd. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, then you kind of have to figure out what day is she going to take, and then if she's going to take July 2nd, then what artists are we going to put on July 20 or June 27th instead? So we kind of have to also wait to figure out how the artist routing is going to work in order to find the date that works best for them too. Yes. So that's a huge part of it that I definitely want to make clear is like a lot of it depends on the artist routing and when they're available to come to Milwaukee based on what other shows they're doing around the dates.
I love that you're clearing that up because people like myself,
Yep.
we needed to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we can't be around here being mad at Summerfest because a lot goes into it behind the scenes for
yeah,
sure.
100%. And like we may get from one artist, be like, okay, hold these 7 dates, and it's over a week time frame, and we're like, okay, great. Like there's a lot of different options that may end up working for this artist based on their availability, and all of a sudden they come back next week and be like, hey, release all these holds for this is our target date. So they narrow in on one date that they want to go with, and then some artists, like when they're planning their tours, they will have multiple routings planned. They'll have routings planned with Milwaukee in it. They'll have routings planned with Milwaukee out of it. You know, they'll have routings planned with playing Milwaukee at Summerfest or possibly playing a different venue. Like, I mean, there's so many different intricacies that are on that side of things that play effect into how our scheduling ends up working out in the end.
Are people not more willing, but do you notice that artists usually do have a Milwaukee stop or at least attempt to have a Milwaukee stop on their tours?
I think we're seeing more and more of it. I think people are realizing that Milwaukee is a very strong music market. Like there's a very strong, not only local music scene, but there's a very strong want from fans and from people who live in the city and the surrounding communities to come to shows here. So I think artists are seeing that more and more. So in my opinion, we are starting to continue to get some of those bigger names that sometimes may in years past would have skipped Milwaukee, but now they're making a point to actually come to our city.
All right, one more question on the lineup because I could go on for days about the lineup, but how do you guys balance the genres? You know, because it's like, what, like 600, 900 acts or something like that?
Yeah, hundreds of artists.
Artists come throughout all of, those 9 or, is it 11 now you said?
It's not 9 days.
9 days.
But two kickoff shows with Garth Brooks.
Yes.
Yep.
So how do you guys balance those genres? Because some people feel like it might be more country leaning or it might be more EDM. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that's it goes back to the same process of the puzzle. Truthfully, it goes back to routing. Like, I mean, we will. Like I said, we'll put out offers for a ton of different artists and basically try and make it as even across genres as we can. Like, I mean, sometimes even, we may have, there's so many subgenres that are out there too.
Oh my God.
Which is like, yeah, I know. It's, it's one of
now.
Where it's like, so one year we make it more even Americana artists and we make it country. This year we have, in my opinion, and I believe we have more R&B artists than we do have hip hop. So it's one of those things where it's like you always want to try and get as even of an amount as you can across genre, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then you end up actually getting a little bit more of one genre than you initially planned to. And that's just kind of the way it works out sometimes. So.
Yeah. I'm so glad we're clearing this up. You're hearing it here first, though, on Brain Squeeze podcast. So going to the community.
Yes.
Yet last year was the first year you guys partnered with Northcott Neighborhood House for Juneteenth.
Yep.
And you guys had a whole celebration around that. How did that come about? And of course, do you guys plan on doing that again this year, or, even different partnerships?
Yeah. So for us, we obviously realized as we were getting into 2025 that our dates aligned with Juneteenth. So, we went out and, reached out to the Northcott team and sat down and talked. And, the Northcott team is incredible. Tony Kearney, Mr. Kearney, who runs Northcott as executive director, is an incredible human. Not only that I've gotten to know him from a personal level, but also just what he does for Northcott, for the community, and what he has done with Juneteenth. As this year they're celebrating their 55th, which is crazy because that's also something that's, I think, in my opinion, is very, very unique. How often do you have two well-known, successful entities in one city that have been around for 58 years and 55 years?
Yeah, it's like a clear partnership there.
A clear partnership. Obviously, we both understand that we are huge parts of the community. So for us, it was kind of a no-brainer. And that was, that's one thing. And it's like, the Northcott team was welcoming from the very beginning. From my perspective, it was incredible to sit down and listen. And for me too, like total transparency, learning more about Juneteenth.
Of course.
Learning more about the history of the festival in Milwaukee. Learning more about the history in general. And I think for all of us here at Summerfest, that made a huge impact on us and made us even more excited to partner with Northcott. So like you said, last year was our first year. We're doing it again this year. This year we're participating in the Juneteenth parade, which is exciting.
It is so fun.
It is fun.
Tell you,
yeah.
I absolutely love being in that parade. When I was there with the Truth, since like our first year we were there, the love is so strong. The people love the candy that they throw out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's such a celebration in a way that I've nenever seen in any other city. So I'm so glad y'all are going to be there.
Yeah, so it's super cool. So, obviously, and then we were able to have some great artists last year. And, it was cool because one thing that I know Mr. Kearney and Tony were, hoping for us to get this year was an amphitheater artist on Juneteenth. So for us to be able to get an artist like Don Tolliver to come and headline the festival on Juneteenth is super exciting too. So obviously we got other great artists. Tyrese, that's going to be an awesome performance. Cannot wait for that. The Family Stone, which is really cool. Sly and the Family Stone played the festival early on when the festival was basically brand new. So the fact that obviously Sly is no longer with us, but the fact that other members of the band are coming back to perform at the festival is really exciting for us. And then we also wanted to, we see ourselves as an extension. By no means are we trying to take anything away from the traditional Juneteenth celebrations.
Which was a lot of people were confused. I'm like, I don't understand how y'all don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. So for us, we're only an extension. We wanna complement everything that Northcott and the Juneteenth celebration already is, and the impact that it makes on our city. So for us, we're excited to obviously have Charlie Wilson kick off the festival on the 18th, and then we have all the different artists on the 19th. The Northcott. They're going to be part of our opening ceremonies as well, where we're going to acknowledge the pageant winners as well, which is really exciting. They came and participated last year in our opening ceremonies.
My sister was actually Miss Juneteenth.
Really? Yeah.
Sydney. Shout out my sister Sydney.
Yeah. So they are incredible people who are part of our community. So it was great to have them be acknowledged at our event as well. And then this year we did this last year and we're doing it again this year. It's called the Taste of Juneteenth. So that's actually happening on Saturday the 20th. And that is going to take place inside our Founders Club in our amphitheater, where we have worked with Northcott to bring Juneteenth vendors to the festival in an effort to basically spread awareness about all the incredible offerings that they have for people who may not even be aware of those restaurants or vendors that are in our city. So it's one of those things where right now you can get tickets for $55. All of the proceeds directly benefit all the participating vendors, which is extremely important to us and to Northcott as part of this initiative. So yeah, we're really excited about it. We love the Northcott team, and I think it's really great for our city too.
I'm glad that you brought that up too, because before this interview, I had put out a threads out there, and I said, hey, if you guys have any questions or concerns or whatever for Summerfest, what would you want to ask? So I want to make sure I hit one specifically, because I thought, it tied into it. But one piece of feedback that I did see online from some people from my question is they would like to see Summerfest more closely reflect Milwaukee's diversity through artists, food vendors, like you just mentioned for Juneteenth, cultural experiences, and partnerships. So what would you say to people who feel that way, and how is Summerfest approaching that conversation, which obviously the Juneteenth day is a really big one that you guys have, but just overall for the entire festival?
Yeah, I think one thing that we are always open to is feedback. I think we know that we every single year we can try and improve and make ourselves better. And I think for us too, it's finding new partners and understanding who else is in the community that wants to also, work together to provide these combined experiences at the festival or even outside of the festival in kind of our partnership with Northcott. So I think for us, what I would say is, if there's anyone who's interested or wants to possibly partner with us in the future, please reach out, 100%. We always want to have a conversation. I think when it comes to lineup, like I said, we always try every single year to try and make the festival as diverse and a reflection of the city as possible. Sometimes it doesn't work out just basically due to the artists and their routing and what's going on in the industry as a whole. But I guarantee you every single year that is something we are trying our best to do. But it's one of those things too where, we obviously will always take feedback. We welcome feedback. And
I love that too, because some people are not welcome to feedback. They're just like, well, who cares? We don't care what you think. We're going to keep doing what we want to do.
We want to continue to get better. That is who we are as a festival. We are community driven and community focused. That is what, us as a nonprofit. That's a huge part of our mission. So for us, it's one of those things, like I said, I think early on is we want to always try and get better. And we always will welcome any feedback or potential partnerships that can help us continue to get better in the future.
And speaking of local artists, I do see that you guys let local artists, I don't want to say allow them to come and perform, but you have applications that you do where local artists here can apply and they can actually get on the stage. I know some people are opening up for some really big acts, like shout out to Troy Tyler. I think
Troy's great.
Emmett James is going to be on the stage.
Fees, Danny Boy, What
advice would you give to an artist that could be listening right now who would want to apply or would want to get on a stage like this one day?
I think this is an interesting question, because I think from my perspective, I get it that it can be intimidating, and sometimes you wonder, why didn't I get chosen, or beyond our headliners, the amount of local artists and regional that we get applying every single year to be part of the festival is in the thousands. I think for one thing that I would say is make yourself stand out. Tell us your story as to, why do you feel like, you want to perform at Summerfest, and what makes you and your music unique or different, or who do you feel like you could possibly open for, or anything like that. I think it's one of those things where always try and position yourself in the best way possible. And this is something I feel like I learned very early on in my career is don't hesitate to reach out and keep pestering, because that sometimes it works. No, but it does. That sometimes might be the only way you may get noticed, because when we're going through thousands and thousands of applicants, obviously, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through, and we're trying to pick out, the best artists and the artists that we feel fit, and the artists that we also feel like are going to be good openers or support acts for some of our headliners, like you were saying about Tyrese. So for us, it's don't ever be afraid to continue to reach out and, really position yourself, because that also shows us that you're really passionate about not only what you do, but also about the festival as well.
I love it. I love it. I just saw that you guys had your preview party. What are some new things that are coming this year that people can be excited about, whether it's food or even just the activations, and from the fan experience perspective, what can they look forward to?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I think people, obviously the music is always the first thing that people look at, but there's so much to do at Summerfest every single year, so many different unique experiences. Last year, or a couple of years ago, I'm sorry, we started to work with a local arts group called Fuzz Pop Workshop, and they started to help work with us to create interactive art exhibits on the grounds. So we have a really, really new, exciting one that we're working with them on that's going to be part of the festival. It's going to be interactive. We're actually going to have, there's going to be different performances as part of that as well, which is super cool. When it comes to different food, honestly, that's one of those things where I feel like every single year, I wish I could keep up with all the different food. Well, all the food on the grounds in general. It's like every single year, it's like I get to the festival, I'm like, okay, I want to go try that. I want to try that and try that. And all of a sudden, it's the last day, and I'm like, I didn't get a chance to do anything that I wanted to do. So, I know we have obviously the Wisconsin Table. It's a brand new kind of Wisconsin themed restaurant. It's going to have fish. For all you drink lovers, you can go and get a grasshopper. You can get a brandy Alexander. On the lakefront, we're incorporating this brand new location called Cocktails and Confections, where you can actually go and get like boozy shakes. You can get some different cocktails. We're actually going to be carrying the Giannis's Greek gummies there and some other candies.
I wanted to try that.
Yeah, so we every single year we try to, we obviously have new vendors, and we try to, continue to elevate that experience, but also bring in new experiences that we may have not had in the past to continue to cater to things that our audiences are looking for.
What's one thing that you think people overlook every year at Summerfest that you would want to get more attention to?
I think that's a really good question. I think one thing that I would say is don't come with a plan. Come early, experience the festival. I couldn't tell you how many times I think I know the festival lineup as good as anyone. I have to as part of my job. But every year, even their artists, where I'm like, I'll listen to them as part of obviously our research, and I'll be like, oh, I like it. Like, let me go check it out. And then I will go and see their live show, and it'll be one of my favorite performances of the entire festival. So I think that's one of those things where it's like every single person has those couple of artists that they want to see every single year. But I am telling you, on the days that you're planning to come early, check out the other artists who are opening, bounce from stage to stage, dive into the different experiences, because there is so much to discover at the festival that I think that's one thing people at times can lose sight of. If they have their set schedule, they know exactly what they want to do, they know what time they want to be there. It's like, throw all that out the window. Yeah. Like, come and hang out. Like, it is the ultimate hangout spot. It is so much fun. You're going to meet new people. You're going to make new friends. I mean, the amount of stories that we have is kind of crazy. I feel like we need to start doing weddings down here.
Oh, that would be
the
really
amount,
nice.
The amount of people that tell us every single year that I met my spouse or my significant other at the festival, at a show, we met in the crowd. Like, it happens every single year. So it's one of those things where it's like, there's so much fun that happens here during the festival that I want to encourage people to come down here and just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Don't put pressure on it. Let loose, have fun, and that's what makes Summerfest so special.
I love that. Just explore the different genres.
Yes.
Different concerts you would have never thought you would have enjoyed.
Exactly.
You can find a whole new artist.
Yep.
That's crazy. No,
yep.
But that's good advice, though. I like that one. So for the next 5 to 10 years for Summerfest, Summerfest is in the lineup of a lot of different festivals, right? You got your Coachellas and your Lollapaloozas and even your Rolling Louds. And I'm sure you guys take some inspiration from the things that they're doing as well and what you might want to implement here at Summerfest. But within the next 5 to 10 years, what do you hope Summerfest becomes? Are you trying to get more out-of-state people to come? Do you want more local people to enjoy what's already here? What would be your perfect vision for that?
I think for us is just trying to get better. I think obviously we've been successful because we've been around for 58 years, but I think it's continuing to enhance that fan experience. Our fans are everything. We wouldn't be around for 58 years if we didn't have such a dedicated fan base and fans new and old coming every single year. So I think for us, it's just continuing to enhance that fan experience, whether it be from the music, the food and beverage, the experiential side, not only during the festival, but then also like before and after the festival, because in the end, the fans are what makes Summerfest happen. So, this is, I'm speaking from my perspective on this, is for us, I think it's just really important to continue to listen to the fans, hear what they want, what they hope to see, who they want to see, and just continuing to dive into that every single year and see what else we can do to continue and to enhance that for every single one of our fans that come through our gates.
Yeah, you guys are definitely open to that. And I just love the collaboration you guys did with Shake too. I had to mention that, just throw that in there.
My boy Shake.
Because that whole collab with you and Visit Milwaukee and with Shake and with Adidas and the fact that people can wear these shoes.
Yep.
And they have an actual Summerfest ticket on there.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So just the last thing I'll just ask, and then I'll let you get up out of here. How do you feel about that partnership, and why did you guys even choose to do that? Because that was really big for the community. Milwaukee came out, lines were wrapped around, and y'all aren't done.
We aren't done. Love the partnership. I feel thankful that, again, like Shake and Josh, they were kind of they were the ones behind it. They kind of first started collaborating, and then they brought me into the mix, and it was a no-brainer for me from the beginning. And, I've gotten to obviously know Shake a lot more. Shake is an incredible human, and I think people don't know, I think Shake's story, but also, like, he is such an influential person in our community, and he kind of flies below the radar a little bit. No. But he is what he has done for the community, obviously if doing this collaboration too, it was really exciting because again, it's like, it goes back to what we talked about earlier about how Summerfest is as much Milwaukee as Milwaukee is Summerfest. And for us to be able to do that in a cool, unique collaboration with an awesome entrepreneur, philanthropist like Shake, and also Visit Milwaukee, who is trying to continue to drive tourism and bring people to our city to experience how incredible it is. It was a no-brainer for us. And it's funny because the designs of the shoes, I think for Adidas, they were actually very challenging. So on the one that we're dropping on June 6th, which is next Saturday, which is really exciting, that one, I think Adidas didn't know if at first they could do it because there's so many different materials that are used as part of the shoe, which is super cool.
For sure.
It's very intricate. But yeah, also this is the first time ever that 4 entities, a global sportswear brand, a music festival, a visitors bureau, and an entrepreneur and philanthropist have all combined on a shoe together. So I know, from Shake's perspective, and obviously he has a really close relationship with Adidas. Adidas is super excited about this collaboration. It's never been done before. And then the chip side of things, like you were saying, that's also something that's very unique too, where we're trying to provide unique experiences for people who bought the shoe, not only with the ticket, but then also unique opportunities throughout the festival and even beyond that as well, to experience Milwaukee and to come to Milwaukee, to spend your time in Milwaukee and really get to know everything that our incredible city has to offer.
It's amazing. I love it. I'm going to get Shake on here. Shake already know he's going to be on Brain Squeeze podcast as well. But that collaboration, I just thought it really brought people together. And everyone was unified. And that's really what Shake is all about as well, is that community
100%.
as well. So.
And that's a good point too. And that's one thing that I think for me that I was so drawn to Shake right away. And Shake now I can call him a friend is I think the community side. That is a huge part of why I wanted to start working for Summerfest, is the community side. He's obviously so community driven. I think that was something we were able to connect on right away.
Well, is there anything else you would just want to let the people know about Summerfest or what they can look forward to? Or I feel like we got it all out. I'm such a yapper.
Yeah, no. I think the one thing I would say is, like I kind of was saying before, is like just come down, experience the festival. I'm going to make a plug for the Summerfest app. Man, if you want to talk about a key to having a successful festival experience, download the Summerfest app. It's a great way to check out all the artists we have, all the different experiences, all the food and drink before the festival, so you can kind of make some plans. And then that way, once you're here, it's a great tool to find where you want to go and experience new things.
You got to map it out.
Got to map it out.
Thank you so much, Jerrod.
Thank you.
Coming, or letting me come. I guess I should say, and interview you. We've been trying to put this together for at least a couple months now, but our schedules were just like all over the place. But Summerfest means so much to me. You know, being born and raised here in Milwaukee, and I remember coming to see Chris Brown. I think it was in like 2006 or 2005 or something like that. I was so small, but it's such a huge part of the community, and so I'm glad that you were able to come talk to me.
You want to talk about a small world experience?
What, were you there?
I was at that show. That was one of my first Summerfest shows ever.
See?
I think it was 2009.
Was it 2009?
And I remember because that was like Chris Brown. He just like he had Run It Out. He had like Yo, Excuse Me, Miss. He had Gimme That.
2005.
Was it 2005?
That was when he came out with.
Woo, dang, that's early.
05, 06.
Dang, was it that early?
It was.
Wow. Okay, now it makes sense when my parents came with me. But no, I remember, and that crowd. That was one of the craziest, but one of the coolest shows I saw was that year. Yeah.
So packed. And that one and the Wiz Khalifa one, everyone always talks about.
Oh my gosh, yep.
That was a legendary night.
Yep, 100%, 100%.
You guys, that is Jerrod Woods, Senior Director of Marketing at Summerfest. Again, thank you so much. I could talk to you for days. I love this type of stuff, but thanks for being the first guest.
Thank you.
Brain Squeeze Podcast.
I appreciate it.
All right, you guys. Well, you already know what to do. Keep on listening for tomorrow's episode because you know I got to drop that juice on y'all daily, but I appreciate y'all so much for tapping in today. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one.